Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Church Security Answer Man. I am so glad you're here today. I want to get right into talking about two recent church stabbing incidents. One just occurred last night, and the other one occurred on Easter Sunday, just a few days ago. So let's jump right in and start talking about those. I want to challenge you. That's my goal. I want you to know what's going on. I don't think this is a freak out kind of thing. I mean, we don't have a major display of these incidents going on right now. We've had a few, but I really want to challenge you to get you and your teams thinking about these because they're real events that are going on. They're happening in similar situations, and I want to challenge you a little bit and get you talking about them, plain and simple. So here's what we have: two church stabbings recently, just the last few days. One's outside a church in a section of town called Jamaica in Queens, New York. The other one's outside a church in Nottingham, United Kingdom. And very interesting, very similar situations as we see with many of these stabbing type incidents. Now, there have been a few recent ones. They're not. I don't think we have a major play on these situations going on, but we've had one in Springfield, Oregon, just a month or so ago. We had the church in Oakland, California, a few months ago. Southern Spain, many of you should remember that situation, that machete attack that killed one and injured several. Honolulu, we had a stabbing at a church or on the church property. And we had in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we had a stabbing and an arson incident with a Molotov cocktail being thrown at a church and a school, and it was more during the week, but it was at the church and the school. So just some things, some incidents to think about. They are occurring. And, what can we learn from these? What can we glean from these? The Easter Sunday incident, just after service, both men are apparently leaving. One's a 40-year-old male and the 20-year-old male. The 40-year-old male has been a regular at the church for a long time. The 20-year-old male has been seen at the church 2 or 3 times. And as the 40-year-old male is leaving church right after the service, just a normal departure right out front of the church, he is intercepted by this 20-year-old and stabbed in the stomach. He survives the incident, and the 20-year-old male is arrested and being charged with several crimes related to that situation. So, right after church in the perimeter. So, on the perimeter of the church. So, of course, if you're listening to these shows at all, my podcasts, right now, we're really talking about the perimeter of our church and the parking lots and how important those areas are. It's not just the lobby that's important these days. I just want to break in here for a moment and let you know that there are some great professional opportunities for training for church security that are available to help you improve your professionalism, limit your liabilities, the liabilities of your team, and the liabilities of your church. Just check out the link in the description or go to churchsecurityacademy.org to see all the courses created for you, or look for a link in the description below or the comments section wherever you're watching this video. Then we had one that occurred just last night at the time of the recording. You're probably going to see this more on Saturday and Sunday, the coming couple of days. But as we're taping this Friday night, just the night before, this incident occurred in a section of Queens called Jamaica. As I understand it, I'm not from that area. I don't know anything about it. In New York, Thursday, 3:45 p.m. in front of the First Presbyterian Church. And apparently there was some kind of activity going on at that time. And a female runs in and reports to a security guard that's inside the church that there's a suspicious man outside acting erratically in front of the church. And he has a knife in his hand. And you can see the picture of the knife there. You can see the crime scene area of the church there at the top, and then you see the knife in that picture below there, the actual knife. So the security guard goes out, confronts the man, and he's stabbed in the stomach. The police arrive, and shortly after this incident, the man refuses to drop the knife. In fact, he continued to hang on to it even after they shot him. They finally had to taser him to get the knife out of his hand. Now, people who knew the man, this suspect in this stabbing, said they knew he had mental health issues, but that he was a nice guy. He lived in the neighborhood for, some said 20 years, some said 22 years. That he'd been in the neighborhood and he was always a nice guy. They did not expect him to become violent. So, what kind of stuff can we learn from this? What's some things? I'm just giving you a quick shout out about these situations, because I want to challenge you a little bit, since they're actual real events that are happening. What can we learn from these things? What can we glean from it? And I'm back to continuing to boost this idea of we need to be watching our perimeters and our exteriors of our churches, our parking lots. I think that we need to make friends with those who are having mental health issues or stress issues. If we can be sensitive to them and friendly to them, we can befriend them as security team members and build a rapport with them. And I think that's an important thing to be looking at, being able to build rapport with these folks if you know they have issues. Now, on the other side of that, as members of the church, as members of church ministry, we should also be wanting to befriend them and try to minister to them and try to help them however we can. So there's multiple reasons for us to do this if we detect there's problems. And I do the same thing. If I suspect somebody has a mental health issue, or I'm told that they do by family at church, I will make sure that I'm extra nice to them. I want to be friends with them in case there's a crisis moment, but also just it's a good thing to do to be friends with them and minister to them where we can and be friendly, be a good example to them, and be there ready to help when you can. And I want to encourage you to discuss this with your team. While it's a serious issue, when you get back to church the next time or your next training, I hope that you will share this with them, this quick little video, and that you will talk about it and discuss what would you do in these situations, the whole thing. If you find out somebody has a mental health issue that's going to the church, what are you going to do? And then, as well as if you're not patrolling the parking lots and the perimeter and the sidewalks, what can you do to find extra people to be able to start to do that in the future? And then we should be talking about use of force issues. Discuss with your team leaders the patrol issues and how we can get more people out in the parking lot, or how we can get a little more time out in the parking lot. Because I do know you have a lot going on. You got to pass the bucket, you got to take offering, you got to pass out pamphlets and other things, maybe help seat people, close doors. I know all of that's going on. So in between those, how can you get folks out in the parking lot to watch the areas? And after church, as your members are leaving church, how can you get one or two of you out into the parking lot so that you're there and can be a deterrent? We learned in the Nashville shooting that little extra security on patrol apparently deterred that person from engaging in violence at that location, because she noted in her notes that there was too much security. So we know that that can have an effect if you're out being seen in the parking lot. So I want to encourage you to take a look at some other videos where we've already talked about this stuff. January 12th of this year, we had a video titled, "When Do I Have to Use Force in Church Security?" And then also in 2020, we did a couple of videos back to back, September 30th and October 12th, about use of force. That was a two-parter. So I just want to encourage you to look at these incidents while they're going on. That's why I'm putting out a quick video about it, to call it to your attention. Pass this on to your security team members. Talk about it this week with them, whether you meet on Saturday or Sunday, and have a quick discussion about, what constitutes use of force. What could you do against a knife? What do you have? What weapons do you have at your disposal to use in those situations? And talk about those things, and talk about it with your team leaders as well. So it's always great to exercise our minds just a little bit, get us thinking about the what ifs. And these are some real what ifs. Get your mind thinking and exercise about, what if this happens? What am I going to do? If this happens, what should I do? And get that stuff going in your mind, and get the approval and get discussion from other teammates so that you're confident about what you should or could do in those situations. Please like and subscribe. If you're new to this channel, I'd love to have you be part of it. So subscribe and stay with us. Make comments. I'd love to hear your comments. If you disagree with me, leave a comment. If you agree or you have something to share with the rest of the community, please leave a comment on here on YouTube or wherever you're listening or watching this at. And hey, take a look at this next video right here. This is a great video that I think here on YouTube that you should be taking a look at next.